Welcome to Scary Podcast, where real nightmares come to life. Put on your headphone, turn off the lights, and whatever you do, don't check into room 217. You're listening to Scary Podcast. Tonight's tale is not just a story, it's a warning. Because room 217 doesn't care if you believe in ghosts. She was there before you checked in. She'll be there long after you try to check out. So put on your headphones, turn off the lights, and remember, whatever you do, don't leave your suitcase open. The roar of the Colorado wind slammed against the hotel's facade as soon as I stepped onto the front porch. It was late in the evening November, near the edge of Thanksgiving, and most of the windows glowed warmly, but a few up near the top seemed dark, as if vacant. I'd come to the Stanley Hotel seeking peace after months on the road. A writer's retreat advertised solitude, inspiration, and mountain views. Yet within moments I knew something here was watching. I checked in without incident. The clerk handed me an old-fashioned room key. Room 217, she said with a tight smile. Most people choose not to stay there. My smile faltered, but I shrugged it off. I'll take it. Thanks. The hallways were hushed, heavy with the scent of pine cleaners and old wood, carpeting muted footsteps, but I heard something else, a quiet creak down the dark corridors, like a door opening or closing. I found my door and paused. I'd rehearsed this scene in my head, ease the latch and walk into comfort. Instead, my hand froze on the knob. The number 217 glinted in brass. Inside, the lights were off. The door cracked open, and a thin ribbon of stale air escaped. I crossed the threshold. The room was large, more like a suite from the roof of old Hollywood, a sitting area with a fireplace, heavy velvet drapes framing a double window, and a canopy bed with crisp white linens. Nothing looked disturbed, yet something felt off. I flicked the switch. No light. The old-style bedside lamp did nothing. I walked over to the fireplace and found a small notice taped beneath, a yellowed lampshade. Do not stay awake past 3:17 a.m. I recoiled. I slipped it into my notebook, my pen shaking. At 3:17 a.m. If I stayed awake, strange things would happen. That note, thin as tissue, seemed like a warning. But even without the note, I couldn't sleep. I listened. Nothing but the room felt denser. I turned on a tiny radio and dialed static until the clock echoed 3:17. I waited. Nothing, so I lay down, and in the next moment, I was dreaming. I awoke on the floor beside the bed, muscles stiff, throat parched. The morning sun filtered weakly through the drapes. I rubbed my head. It felt like I'd fallen hard. The lamp was back on, intact. No note. I dressed, intending to get coffee and clear my head, when I realized the fireplace poker had vanished. I stared at empty hearth. No soot, no ash, but I remembered tossing it aside around 2 a.m. later. I met the housekeeper, an older woman with a kind but distant smile. I asked about room 217. She stopped halfway to my cot, expression flat. That room has a long history. Not all of it good. She moved on. I got coffee in the lobby, noticed the old portraits, families, children huddled in robes and furs from another century. One showed a young boy, pale, staring up from under a heavy brow. The plaque said 1872, 1872. That afternoon, I pulled my laptop into the sitting area, trying to write. Then came the tapping, tap, 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 like fingernails against wood. I froze. The sound moved first by the window, then down near the fireplace. I spun. Nothing. It stopped in the corner of my eye. I saw the brass door hinge creaked. I rolled my shoulders and returned to typing, hands shaking. By dinner it was snowing. I stayed in the restaurant, drank red wine too fast. I asked the staff about the note. They shook their heads. We don't talk about 217, said one. Strange things happen up there. I chuckled, nervously, wine sloshing. Back in the room, I glanced at the clock. 9:57 p.m. still early. I shut the drapes tight and locked the door. At midnight, I drifted off, but not into rest. I dreamt I was a little girl, 8 years old, walking through a dark corridor. I called for my parents who weren't there. I ran. I opened a door. I saw my reflection. On the other side of the mirror was someone else, a girl in a white nightgown, face streaked with tears, mouth opening into a silent scream. I bolted upright. The room was frozen in dark blue shadows. I looked toward the mirror. No child there, but the drapes were moving, slowly, like a breeze, but the rest of the air was dead still. The drape on the canopy moved again, dragged aside. A pale face, picked, no, more than picked, stared. The girl from the mirror. She watched me. Before I could scream, she vanished. The next second, the phone rang, shoved me back into reality. The local front desk. Sorry to wake you, sir, cracked voice, but your key activated at 3:17 a.m. on a different floor. My pulse shot. There's no one logged in here. Sir, be careful, my chest burned. I checked the clock. 3:17 a.m. It was 10 minutes past. The fire poker rested by the fireplace again. I touched it, cold, no note. I slept, if you call it that, in fits. When morning came, I skipped breakfast. Bag in hand, I marched to the front desk and turned in the key. Change of plans, I muttered. She nodded, not surprised. Here's your receipt. I glanced at the timestamp. 3:17 a.m. I left. That afternoon, I found myself back at a small diner in Estes Park. I blacked out the coffee, stain on the log counter beneath my elbow, trying to sort the night's events. A TV in the corner played a documentary on The Shining One's old color film from the Stanley after Stephen King stayed. I blinked and felt cold. Stephen King was here. He checked into 217 the night before it burned. The voiceover cut to the hotel lobby with everything intact. The lift, the check-in desk, the elevator dot, the date flashed beneath. November 1974. The voice shifted. King left room 217 early. Wrote most of his novel near Granby, 13 miles west of here. The narrator explained that the fire had destroyed the eastern wing, including 217, but the fire had also reset everything. The room had become a myth, a place of lingering ghosts. I felt like stone so fire reset. Myth. Back at the lobby, the receptionist whispered, bringing rooms back, old magic. I looked at that face, and for a moment glimpsed fear. Now I understood, not my hands shook, notebook open. I didn't write about the trip. I erased my name from any forms. I told people I had the flu. But I could never forget the way time bent in that room. The tapping, the girl, the key activated at 3:17 on the second floor, the fireplace poker moving. The Stanley Hotel advertised solitude, inspiration, a brush with the past. But room 217 gave me something else. A glimpse into places where the veil is thinning sometimes. Tears. Now, whenever I pass that clock, see that time, or hear a child giggle in the silence, I remember the room, and I know I'll never be able to sleep again. Homesickness creeps in differently now. After the night in room 217, I moved into a downtown Denver apartment. It's small, quiet, but late at night, it grows heavy. The shadows lengthen, and I catch reflections on the wall that form into shapes. I watch them flicker. I tell myself it's only my imagination. Yet when the lights go out, I hear scratching. I spend days going through Lillian's recordings. Most data is corrupted at key moments, but a few usable files remain. A faint sob in the hallway, a child's whisper, "Don't let go." A scream that echoes down the phone, ending in darkness, and one phrase, crystal clear, repeated on loop, "We're counting again." I trace the phrase to my native Denver, where tallies scratched into basement walls have been reported for decades. I find 3 local videos. Shaky footage taken by renters encountering repeating countdown tallies, just like in 217. Same slanted lines. Sometimes 5 tallies raised, then erased or reset. The tallies are counting something, or someone. Sleep is impossible. At night I lie in bed, headphones plugged in but silent, staring at the clock. The whispers come first, low, murmuring promises. Just one more tally, one more guest. I keep my journal by the bed. Any scrap of reflection, movement, or new tally, I jot it down tonight. The clock reads 3:16 a.m. The second hand moves. At 3:17 precisely, a crack from inside the walls. Like the wood is splitting, I sit up. Sweat cools my forehead. The scratching comes not nails, but a fingering that seems to travel the entire wall. A pattern. Tick, 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 tick. Pause, then a long, slow scraping. I whisper to myself, not again, yet I can't shut my ears. The scratch stops, silence, then a voice, a male voice, this time low but clear. "You left it open." My blood turns cold. The voice doesn't belong to any ghost I met in 217, it's new, uttered from somewhere deep beneath the floor, or inside my head. I get out of bed, feeling like glass. I shine a flashlight under the bed. It reveals nothing but carpet. But on the far wall, under the windowsill, 5 tallies appear slanted fresh. I run my finger over them. The wood is rough, insulated, no way wind or moisture. 3 months ago they would have meant nothing. Now they mean everything. Morning arrives, but it feels like nothing happened. I cover the tallies with paint. I tell myself, finish. But tomorrow morning I remove the tape to show Lillian. The tallies are gone. Instead, there's a name scratched into the paint. Eva. I dig. Local police have no matching person. No missing person named Eva. No cold case. Not even a rumor. But while researching the basement tallies, I come across one old news clipping from the 1970s. A caretaker's daughter named Evelyn Eva Jenkins. She died in a fire near Yosemite. Her parents checked out early, never came back. She left. No tallies. But her sister claimed Eva had been counting the nights before she disappeared. I call Lillian. She answers. I tell her what happened. Her pause is long, longer than a pause should be. Then she says, "It's not over, is it?" We meet at a coffee shop. I show her my phone. She stares at the photo of the tallies and the name. Finally she says, "They follow us now." She explains. When you escape the site or the room, they follow you, like a tether. They want to count us back. That night, we decide, we document, we witness, we record again. Not to destroy the tether, but to map it. We spend 2 nights in separate rooms in the Denver apartment building. Same floor, same wall, same clock, same silent countdown. At 3:17 a.m. scratch whispers, our names appear. My full name on my wall, her name on hers. New tallies above. They're relentless. We each film the other's room later with night vision. Nothing visible, only whispering. On playback, There's something hiding in the corner, a shape branching into two footage cuts. At 3:19, we send clips to authorities. They refuse to investigate. Old house, they say art students. We call experts, physicists studying quantum anomalies. They refuse, citing insufficient evidence. Our patterns are dismissed as hoaxes or psychological. Then Lillian disappears. Remember the caretaker's cabin in the woods she mentioned? A place she used to go at age 4. She found it empty the day we filmed. But at night, when she checked her back door, she found 6 footprints circling her bed. Child-size. She never told me this until now, days after she vanished. She left a note. I went back. I'm so sorry. It's on her kitchen table, next to her camera bag. No footprints in my apartment. Doors locked, but the whispering is louder now, chanting 1, 2, 3 vo count. I realize there's a countdown loop. Maybe they're collecting names. Maybe when they reach a number you vanish. I prep to leave again, sell my car, pack clothes, hide electronics. I drive into the mountains north of Boulder. I camp in a van near a lake. It's wild, remote but quiet. On the first night, I skip dinner. I sit outside, staring at the water. I put water in plastic bottles. I've removed all electronics, no phone, no recorder, no clock, just me and nature. At 3:17 a.m., I wake up, as planned. There's no electricity, no clock, but I know the time. I stand, step outside, and face the lake. The wind hushes. My breath shows in the cold air. Then I hear it. Gentle ripples, not a wind. Something brushing through leaves. Then soft voices, teen girls praising a name. Eva, we're coming. A fog thickens across the lake. Figures appear, silhouettes of children walking from the water's edge, moving toward the van. It should have stopped here, but instead, something inside me stirs. Draw loud. My door lifts open. Cold fog floods inside. My breath hitches. I step back. They're not shapes, they're features, distinct, thread-like. Clothes trailing in mist. Ava's among them. I've seen her in photos, black hair, slick hat askew, her lips moving in slow chant. They pass through the van. I can feel their passing, touching, brushing, cold, uncanny. They disappear. When I check my hand, Tilly scratched into my palm. Slanted, tiny. 9 marks, 9 nights survived. 1 more, and the tether's complete. The next day, I return disfigured with cold and confusion. I find Lillian's empty vehicle in front of a church. Graveyard by Boulder. Inside the car, more tallies scratched into leather seats, her name, her initials, dozens of slashes. The EMF camera is smashed. The recorder playing looping C3. EVA, no sign of her. I search. Authorities open a case. Witnesses say she walked toward the back lots like sleepwalking. The church caretaker saw her kneeling beside her car late twilight, praying. They found a hand-printed stick note in her pocket. Don't open what counts. I rent a cabin again, but not one near the Stanley remote. Quiet. I paint the walls. In stark white. I refuse to sleep. I work days and stay busy. But every night, at 3:17 a.m., something scratches. It burrows behind drywall. I hear it. Then I see it. A new line sticking out of the paint, like the grain of wood refusing to blend in. The tallies have returned. I pack everything again. I send partial files to paranormal forums as far as I can find. I wear gloves to hide the palm scars. I haven't showered in days. My hair's grown wild. I'm starting over. I drive north, then east, then south a ways away, but they follow. I sleep in motels. Single morning paperwork gets distracted by tallies appearing next to beds or under the sinks. Once in Kansas City, I discover a slash behind the shower curtain. At 3:17 a.m. I wake. The television changes channel. No one touched remote. I drive again, over and over. I'm reaching town tonight, the kind with bright lights, people, cars, anonymity. I type this quietly in a hotel lobby. At 3:02 a.m. It's been 64 days since room 217. I've painted over tallies in 6 different homes. I've packed and unpacked 5 times. I've seen them at the lake, in the snow, in motels. And at the stroke of 3:17 a.m. I will stand alone in this lobby and pray. Because I realize, now this isn't about me, it's about counting 1, 2, 3 Eva. And there's I don't know how many tallies needed, but I know mine will be next. The hotel lobby's cold tile under my feet at 3:16 a.m. feels unreal, polished and silent, except for the distant hum of neon. I stand near a bank of reception desks. No one here but the cleaning crew asleep behind closed doors. Outside, the streets are empty. I tap the keys of my laptop at final record. Why am I still here? Why not flee? Because every place I've left, the tallies spread like mold. They're not mine anymore, they're a virus I carry, and I need to find the root once and for all. The count is nearing completion. I can feel it. I saved up, flew across the country, booked this big city landmark hotel, plush, modern, offering comfort. But at 3:17, every watch, clock, and display in the lobby flips to that time in unison. It hits like a punch. My chest clenches. Then the scraping begins from all directions. Behind the front desk, inside elevator frames, down corridor walls. It's faster now. Tick tick, and then white noise of whispers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I lean over the counter, turning my phone backward. For crocodile, small slashes appear on the screen's backside, fresh, like acid etched, darker than ink, deeper than scratch. I shove the phone in my pocket. I book a room, highest floor, name in hand, keycard blinking. They give me a smile. I don't ask which room. Doesn't matter. They just cancel my loyalty points later. No one's suspicious. I drag my suitcase up. In the elevator, the counter of floors scrolls past, the lights flickering. I count them. In my head, the door opens. I step into my new cell. Beige walls, white ceiling, muted city light through blackout curtains. A cheap desk, a half-used bottle of water, generic art. I cough. Dust settles from the vent above. The maintenance note is taped there. Replaced filter 2 weeks ago. I set up. Unpack one small bag, laptop charger, lighter, small pack of index cards, pen. The rest stays zipped. Across from the bed, on the wallpaper, I draw for tallies. I stop at 3:17 a.m. every night, not because of fear but necessity. Tonight I cross the 5th night, the last one. Bedtime. I pull curtains tight, disable all electronics, notepad and pen only. I leave the bathroom door cracked open, under the light of the corridor. It's silence. Beautiful calm silence. At 1:17 a.m. First breaths, an internal shiver. A scratch along the far carpet edge. I tighten the pen's grip. At 2:17 a.m. The shower head rattles against the metal piping in scene force. Water glitches and droplets, no leak. At 3:16 a.m. The vent opens with a static sigh. The air becomes colder. My pulse reverberates. Then the digital clock beside the bed flashes momentarily. 3:17 in bright red. I rise out. Now comes the true test. Concentrated observation. 1. I walk slowly to the bathroom, place index card under the visible crack. On the wall near the faucet, I scratch another tally. I whisper, I see you. The mirror fogs. 2. I approach the bed. At the profile, I place another card. I leave a second tally near the mattress seam. The fabric twitches. 3. I go near the desk. The little art frame tilts just enough. I scratch 4 hash marks to mirror the others. Then I retreat to the center of the room. No writing, just observation. The scratching returns from within the walls. Under carpet, fold, vent, faster. My tattoos on my wrist rise and pulse. I wonder if the count includes me. The device of counting grows more impatient. A voice, distant and fractured. 4 for finish. A knock near the door. Then a second pause, 2 beats, then 15 rapid taps in rhythmic, chaotic. My heart bleeds noise. I walk to the door. I press my ear. It thumps on the other side. A child's cry, low, muffled. A lullaby I half remember from my grandmother. I speak softly. Evelyn, no reply. The voice wanders off, replaced by a sighing whoosh, like long-dead ventilation. Fans. Key experiment. I press the scribbled index cards to the sound, not to prevent it, but to anchor it. These cards carry my tally, my weight. I touch each card near bathroom crack, crumbly paper, but unmarked desk card, warmed by my palm, unopened, scratched on near bed, pen smear visible, the tally blacker than mine. Then I kneel, I listen. The vent above my head hums as if swollen with electricity. The wallpaper eddies inward, as if fluid. I place the last card, directly under the center vent. Then I step away to the corner near the dresser. I don't nap, I watch the scratch come slow, deliberate, 1 line, then 2, then 3, 4. Each follows rhythm I set. 4th cross matches my tally. 9th, 13. Then a new mark appears, 5 slanted lines and sealed. I hold my breath, then silence a second to the warm hiss of floor air returning. I cross-match each tally. My hands are steady but inside. The wall, the mark is deep and real. Then the voice borrowed, layered, multiple levers. 5, safe. Then the scratch continues, more marks but faster, skipping count. They're adding onto mine. From my vantage, I watch the wallpaper bubble and shift, then full silence. I don't move. My highlighter pen lies half empty near the bed. Skull-shaped echo from the curtain. Done. The lights flicker off. My pulse drops. Then the door chime, not beat but a knock. 3 soft taps. My knees locked out. The doorknob turns. Click. The door swings inward. I don't run inside. She stands. Little girl Evelyn. Pale nightgown dripping in fragments. Eyes hollowed by regret. She holds something, my index cards, spread across her small hand. She tilts them one by one, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She stops at the last, my signature. Her thumb traces it. A wide silence falls. She drops them at my feet. I stare. There's no water trailing, no ash, just cards. She nods, no voice, a single gesture. Then I blink. She scratches a new tally onto the wallpaper with her fingernail, right beside mine. 6th, crisp and bolder. For me, then she vanished. Nothing. Air rushes. The scent of wet earth. Cut grass. I stand, heart in throat. The lights pop on. The chime above the door rings. Bing. A slip of paper is wedged in the doorframe. I pick it up. Scribbled on a note. Don't look back. The door locks itself. Silence returns. Deeper than before. Morning comes. I awake to sunlight brushing curtains. The note's handwriting, it's hers. Child's script with trembling lines. I cross 6 tallies across the wallpaper. marking it permanent. I call the clerk downstairs, request special cleaning. He gives me a puzzled look. I smile, shaking. My phone pings with missed calls from Lillian. Too late, I leave. But next day I stay off-grid, no map, no phone, no clock. I sleep under a folding cot in a garage. I count days by meals, by posture. But on the 5th night, precise 3:17, I wake to a single whisper beside my ear, count me in. I don't see her, but I feel the tally. I press thumb to my palm. There's a mark, but then ache with relief. No new scratches on my hands. I rise. I walk outside. For the first time, I breathe without wallpaper, templating time. But the night is never quiet. A wind brushes by. Leaves rustle in pattern. It sounds like slipping pencils, like they scribble on invisible walls. I breathe. One tally for every place. Every person. I whisper aloud for the first time. I count you, Evelyn. I give back the count. A breeze. Leaves stop. The wind answers. With a sigh, I write this new in a pad. Under lamplight in a safe place far away. I have no tallies on my palm. I have 5 cards tucked into my coat. I'll live with 5 now and maybe 1 more. If you read this and you stay awake to 3:17 and you scratch your first line, just whisper to the walls, count me in. If they tally backed, don't run, because maybe that's the contract. Maybe they just want the acknowledgement, and maybe by giving them the count, you're giving them something you hold. Not what they hold, I don't know. But I do know one thing. They're counting, and now so am I. This has been Scary Powderkist, where nightmares never check out. If this story chilled your spine, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next tale from the shadows. And remember, when the night gets quiet, and you feel the air change, don't turn around.